Councilman Halco. Here. Councilman Camilleri. Here. Council President Conti.
Here. Please rise, salute the flag. Please remain standing. Moment of silence. We lost a dear friend. He was zoning board chairman, Carl Esposito. He passed away on October 5th. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on October 4th, 2013, in all legal newspapers in accordance with the provision of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Okay, before I open it up to the public, Mayor, you want to read something and have some presentations?
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. Glad to see you. As everyone knows, October is Breast Cancer Awareness, and the awareness is out there by virtue of wearing pink. So out of respect to all those families and survivors and those that have passed, our council gives our heartfelt support by virtue of wearing pink this evening. And before I go any further, I think I'd like to read a letter that was sent in to the editor, and it regards the Ambulance Corps needs volunteers. And I think it fits in very well this month, knowing the fact that I'm certain the Saddlebrook Ambulance Corps was called out for many women in duress with breast cancer, as they were called out 10 days ago for Carl Esposito. So I thought before I go any further with paying our respects to Carl, that this was written by Harry Reed, the captain of our Saddlebrook Ambulance Corps. And it says, the Saddlebrook Volunteer Ambulance Corps is now in its 63rd year of service to the residents of Saddlebrook. We are a proud and dedicated group of people. We have 54 certified EMTs on our roster. We are now the only 100% volunteer squad in the area. We do not bill for our services to the community. Up to this point in time, we have been able to cover our daytime calls. Unfortunately, due to the economy and the need for people to work more than one job, we find that we are now facing a shortage of people during the hours of 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Our members receive no compensation for the hours they spend in the building, standing by at town events, or answering the calls. We do not even get any type of stipend. We are looking for people who can help us during the daytime hours. You will be trained at no cost to you. Without your help, we may not be able to continue covering the town during the daytime hours. We hope this does not happen. If you feel that you can help us, please stop at the Corps building on Market Street here at the Town Hall any night of the week between 7 p.m. and midnight. We will be there to answer any questions you may have. Again, there is no money compensation, only having the satisfaction that you are able to help your neighbor or family member in a time of need. So I'm reading this particularly because not everyone gets the shopper. And this plea is out there. So again, please visit the Ambulance Corps anytime after 7 p.m. And if you can't do it then, stop into Town Hall. You can see Pete Ladico or anyone else that's in here. So public, please help us, because one day we don't know when we're going to be in need of that ambulance corps. And then again, in light of Carl's passing, Carl was a personal, very personal, dear friend of mine and my deceased husband. He took very good care of my husband in his last month or so that he could get out. So I have a special friendship. But my friendship, I think, goes on in the township of Saddlebrook, as I know all the council people have worked with Carl in just about every facet of volunteering in Saddlebrook, if not working upon his retirement in the coffee shops, which we call the other town halls, because Carl loved the politics of Saddlebrook. There's so many good things to be said about Carl, and I offered the proclamation at the funeral parlor, but I would like, for the purpose of the public, to understand how grateful we are to have known a person like this in our lifetime by reading this proclamation. Whereas Carl K. Esposito passed away on Sunday, October 5th, 2013, he devoted his retirement years to the township of Saddlebrook jovially. He knew more jokes than anyone, he was also everyone's friend, a hard-working helper for all the good causes in life with a big heart, and forever volunteering for community projects and activities committee, and he was part of the Gray Hair Squad. And the Gray Hair Squad, they're disbanded now, but when they were there, they would go and do all the barbecuing and work at the senior center and serve the dinners for the seniors, and they were really proud of it. They loved it, the group. And now, whereas Carl was proud of his Italian heritage and served as district governor and past president of the Saddlebrook Unico Club, he never stopped working at their events, particularly the classic cars, because he was a classic car buff, and his wife had said his favorite color was red, and he had the red classic cars. His other interests involved his concerns and dedication to the Saddlebrook government, serving on the planning board and most recently as chairman of the zoning board, which they've missed him in the last 2-3 meetings, and they're pretty much devastated. And then Carl also was formerly our cameraman for the Saddlebrook Local Access Channel. He was an extremely active member of the Saddlebrook Republican Club, an avid political debater, as many of us here can attest to, and campaigner when he believed in his candidate. He would be seen around town putting up about 500 campaign signs. And then whereas Carl served this country in the United States Army, he revered the USA. I mean, even his funeral flowers portray the love of his country. He actively supported the VFW, and I think he was most proud when he was asked in the past few years to be Master of Ceremonies for our Saddlebrook Memorial Day Parade. And for that, this May, he's going to be sadly missed, hard to replace because he did such a great job. And then whereas Carl worked for public service for 42 years providing for his family, his work didn't stop there. He chose his retirement jobs, getting up at 4 a.m. to help his friends operate coffee shops and pizza establishments, thus becoming those neighborhoods' people greeter each day. And everyone looked forward to meeting Carl in the mornings. He even delivered flowers for me for a while. He was just a good friend to all his friends, and he added laughter to everybody's days. Whereas Carl loved his wife, Babe, his son, Carl J., and daughters, Jennifer and Tia Maria, their respective husbands, Tom and Richard, his in-laws of the Boydell family, Butch and Nancy, and he spent many happy times with his family, but his greatest joys in life were his 2 grandchildren. There was his grandson, John, who called him Grandpa, and his grandson, Jake, who called him Grampy. And he always came in the store with the photos on the cell phone. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Karen A. Chamberlain, Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, and all the members of the Township of Saddlebrook will miss Carl as his family does. His memory will always live in our hearts for all his good deeds. So God bless Carl's family and the fact that we knew him and he did so much for Saddlebrook. Thank you very much. And now, at this time, would like to call up Marie and the Saddlebrook Women's Organization, who do so much They have some presentations here this evening, and I'm going to hand over the mic to Marie, and then we'll be calling up our people who you're contributing to.
Thank you, Karen. The Saddlebrook Women's Club would like to thank Mayor Karen Chamberlain and Town Council for giving us the time this evening to present our charitable donations. As you may know, the Saddlebrook Women's Club is a volunteer organization which focuses on women and children in our community. We are committed to helping our volunteer organizations in our community as well as the surrounding towns to as much as our contributions can take us. Since our formation in May 2012, we are proud to announce that we have grown from 15 members to 40 members, as well as contributed to over 14 charities and their causes. Your continued support is greatly appreciated. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we also presented a $500 donation to the Betty Torricelli Institute in Hackensack, our neighboring town. Tonight we are here to present 3 of our town's volunteer organizations with donations and a heartfelt thank you for all you have done for us. On behalf of the Saddlebrook Women's Club, we would like to present our Saddlebrook Little League Challenger Division with this certificate in honor of their support and dedication to our children, as well as a $500 donation.
Why don't we have all the ladies up, please, from the club? And Lou Varelli, please. Now, Lou Varelli and I go way back. We worked together with the Challenger, but Lou is the founder of the Challenger Division. And Lou, I think it's only right that you explain to the public how long ago you started this, how it's still continuing. And then just to let you know before Lou speaks, Lou's also been helpful, even though the Challenger left Saddlebrook physically. He's been helpful in organizing the Angels soccer that now is in Saddlebrook. So explain that better.
All right, thank you. I'm sure almost everybody here knows what the Challenger Division is. It's 23 years ago, myself and 3 other guys from Saddlebrook Little League started it. We were one of maybe 20 in the country at that time, and it just went off very well, and just kept growing and growing and growing. At one time, we had over 106 players in our Saddlebrook Challenger Division itself. But what happened through the years that we set up new programs in other Bergen County towns, some in Passaic County, and they're now from, I think it was me and one other one in 1990. In Jersey now there's about 120 different Challenger divisions. So like I said, we started out 23 years ago. I've been the assistant district manager, the assistant district administrator for Challenger Baseball for 23 years, and I serve on the Little League Board of Directors for Challenger Baseball for the last 21. And the program's still going strong. We have 26 kids in our town, and these ladies have been giving us money I would say at least 21 years, maybe more, under a different name, but I know and I appreciate it, believe me.
Thank you.
That money goes to the holiday party, and I already booked the VFW December 1st from 3 to 6. It's a Sunday. You're more than welcome to come. I put it in a letter every year. I never seen none of you, but I'd love to have you come. We have over 120, 125 people there. We have a DJ, Mr. and Mrs. Claus come. We have gifts for all the kids. It's a nice day. It's a very nice day. And I thank you for all your help. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Lou, forever, it's very difficult to support some of these programs, and he's always on the phone or soliciting for the funds. So this contribution of $250 is going to go a long way and become very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the Saddlebrook Women's Club, we would like to present our Saddlebrook Ambulance Corps with this certificate for their outstanding dedication and service to our community, as well as a $250 donation.
My pleasure to introduce the one and only Harry Reid. Harry?
Thank you very much, ladies. I want to especially thank Karen for reading that letter. I had to put some thought into writing that because we certainly don't want to stop any service that we've been giving this town for so long. But without members during the day, I can't say it's not going to happen. Everybody else around us is paid during the day except us, and we are very proud that we're maintaining getting these rigs out during the day. We're quite a busy squad for a town our size. As I'm sure all of you saw last week on the television program, that wreck up on the Parkway, we had 23 patients. It tested all our skills, all the knowledge. Our mutual aid towns came in. We had Lodi, Rochelle Park, Elmwood Park, Fairlawn, Hackensack, St. Joe's paramedics, Hackensack paramedics, Saddlebrook Fire Department was a great big help, as they always are. And basically, I'm very proud of the organization that we have. And I thank the council. I'd be remiss not thanking the council for all their support that they give us, financially, as well as a couple of hackers that came out Monday on our golf outing. I won't mention any names, but we did get a golf outing out Monday between the rain and the tornadoes, and to try to raise some funds for the Corps. So I certainly do appreciate this check from the women, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you, ladies.
On behalf of the Saddlebrook Women's Club, we would like to present our Saddlebrook Fire Department with the certificate of their outstanding dedication and service to our community, as well as a $250 donation.
My pleasure to introduce Chief Myers, who has a few months left. Been working very hard, and here's another, Saddlebrook is blessed, fortunate. Has another group of volunteers, again, unpaid, but you can further that.
Absolutely. Thank you. This donation is fantastic. It's the things like this between us, the Ambulance Corps, Challenger Division, all the volunteer organizations in our town that are so close-knit, and we all support each other. It's what makes our town different from every other. We really appreciate this. Thank you very much. And we're up to about 100 members, and I think we're about to have our third female firefighter join. We always need new fire equipment. Absolutely. No, we need support. Always need support. For everything. Everything across the board. We always need support. Careful.
Thank you. Marie, thank you.
Pleasure.
I would like to say this. Flo and I are both members, but sometimes our schedules, we don't get there.
No, I know you don't.
And please understand.
We see you.
We're
and
behind
us,
you.
yeah.
And Flo and I, when we can, we're involved. And I was talking to Maria earlier about going further with the Ladies Club and the Mayor's Youth Committee. Flo will be helping out on that. And there's so many more things that I know the ladies will be involved with even further because, my goodness, you've grown it to over 40-some members from about 12 to 15. And that says a lot. And I know you do the food baskets on the holidays, which is gratefully needed in this economy. So you know what? Take it back to all the other members in my absence, and maybe I could speak for Flo. Tell everybody, God bless and thank you very much.
Very much, Karen. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Okay, I need a motion to open to the public. Motion. Motion by Mr. Simulukas, second by Mr. Halpern. Roll call.
Councilman Simulica?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Constance?
Yes. The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone would like to be heard, please?
Larry Ratajczak, 92 Claremont Ave. To the council president, is there any particular reason why last month's meeting was run in a different order than the meetings have been in the past? I know the Boy Scouts were here, and it was bad weather that day, and there was no open to the public. Mr. Simaluka was running the meeting.
Correct.
You opened to the public, you closed to the public. With the weather the way it was, people were running a little late, and you shut that down, and then you did the Boy Scouts.
Okay. Can I handle that, turn that over to Mr. Simaluka?
Sure.
Because you ran the meeting that night.
Sure.
I was not here because of
Okay.
the business.
The intention was to, like we did today, have the presentations first, which we normally do. However, I think we only had one Boy Scout here at that time. The rest of them had not shown up. So we waited for them, and we opened the meeting to the public. It was after 7 o'clock. We did open the meeting to the public. And there was a motion
Are
to
we
close
gonna
the
do
meeting.
that all the time, or are you gonna go back to your regular order?
Well, I would think, I don't want
Because,
to
like
speak
I
on
said,
top of.
what I didn't like is you missed the time to speak, because we were running late, just like the Boy Scouts were, because of the weather. And I don't think that it's fair that a resident has to go a month or whatever before you can come up here. You guys knew what you were doing that night, okay, and there was no objectors here, and you did it. So, like I said, that's another, you guys, you're gonna do it anyway, so you might as well do it the right way. Don't make yourselves look bad. So you put yourself out there.
Listen,
Don't
nobody
leave-
made,
don't-
nobody's
But don't
was
make it
bad.
look, in
We opened the
baseball,
meeting, we
Andrew, in
closed the
baseball, if you're
meeting.
bad out of order, you're out.
There's no, what?
There's
what are
an
you talking
order
about?
to the meeting. Yes, there is. There's an order. to
The
meeting.
presentations
Okay.
can be
Forget about
done
it.
at any time.
Okay, but you make your own rules as you go
Oh,
along.
okay, that's what you think.
That night, like I say, the Mayhill project was approved,
Yes.
which was, I was asking, and I had two council people, Mr. Camilleri and Ms. Mazer, said that they were gonna ask what we could get. And the mayor said that that was like extortion or making deals. I have an article here from the Bergen Record. It's dated 5/26, site chosen for Garfield Police Headquarters. Garfield received $4 million from the developer to build their police station for free. In addition, they got $400,000 from Vornado to use for a park. Why are we missing the boat on these things? We have big-time developers, so tonight, you can read, we're giving a lot of tax refunds to, and tax appeals that Mr. Mulestack's handling for us, and doing such a great job, handing out money that we don't have. Like I say, I would like to ask him later, when I get onto his thing, is how you can have a $2 million tax appeal sitting in the on-deck circle, we'll talk baseball, and the council knows nothing about it. And now we're gonna pay 7 years for it. Mr. Di Maria that night stated that we were in great financial shape. Great. Was the council aware of that tax appeal sitting there through the chairs to Mr. Camilleri? Were you aware of that?
Yes, yes.
You were, and you agreed with Mr. Di Maria that we were in great financial shape?
Finance.
I mean, you gotta stop the guy in his tracks and say, look, Frank, we're not good. We're not good. You have an emergency appropriation tonight for $15,000. And the other thing with the taxes, what was the town running on when the tax bill wasn't sent out? What was it running on? You know what it was running on? I'm gonna tell you. The water department that was losing all that money. That's how much money the water department makes, that we could run the town during a tax period, a quarter, that we didn't need to bond. We didn't need to borrow money. We had money in that slush fund. That's what that is. That's the slush fund. That's why you can't sell the water when you asked if we could sell the water. You can't sell the water. That's the backbone to the town. Okay? And like I say, all of these other towns do it. Mr. Simaluka said, no, Carlstadt didn't do that, only these towns. Well, here it is right here, right in ink. I'm gonna leave this with you. so you can all read it.
Listen, Larry, Vornado built on their property,
Right.
built an entire mall.
Right.
Okay? This was a 50-foot by 200-foot piece of land
That's
that they
fine,
spent
but they still got it. They still got
$175,000.
it.
They spent
Andrew, read the
$175,000
article.
to
Read the
develop
article.
it.
Okay, I believe I have the floor right now. I wasn't
Yes.
addressing you.
Sure.
But like I say, this developer gave $4 million to the town to build a police station. What did our police station cost us? $6 million? Right? We missed the boat again. We always miss the boat. Or we're getting it and we're not seeing it. The town's not seeing it. It's going someplace else. As far as the tax appeals, I mean, Mr. Mulestack handled our tax appeals, worked for us way back when. He is known to do business with Mr. Robel, okay? And look at tonight what Mr. Robel's getting. Look at tonight. That's only a portion of what he's getting in the tax appeals, okay? And he's always approved, and nothing comes back to the town. That's why I said, don't take the Mayhill Street from him until he gives us something. He's benefiting by that, believe me. Down the road, he's gonna benefit, believe me. We can't handle the streets we have. We can't pave them, but we'll maintain it now, we'll plow it, we'll salt it, we'll sweep it, we'll do everything, because we got plenty of money. Like I say, we're spending money like water, we don't have any more money to do. I guess I'll ask Mr. Lodica, why wasn't the council notified about the water meeting? That Ms. Mazur passed a resolution, and there was gonna be a meeting in Hackensack, and the only person that attended it was a resident. We needed you people, you're our mouthpieces. We needed you at that meeting, and none of you showed up, from the mayor to the business administrator to any council people. Because according to Mr. Lodica, he didn't know about it. Well, you know what, Mr. Lodica? At the salary you get, you better know about it, and you better notify these people. You gotta be on top of your game. And here it is in the newspaper that day also. 2 days before the meeting, it's published in the Bergen Record. And it's not in the fine print public notices. It was an article. And I'm sure you were either emailed or notified by them, because other towns had everybody there. Once again, we missed the boat. So what will we do? We'll get the 18% jammed down our throat, nobody there to speak for us. Everybody up here for the cameras. That's what you're doing, okay? I mean, we're not getting the service out of you people. We're not getting it. We're not getting it. We make too many mistakes. I'd also like Mr. Lodica to let us know what the final overtime was on the Market Street project that we played in police overtime, because the contract wasn't read properly, and we ate the police overtime. The contractor is supposed to pay the police overtime, and he did not, because it was omitted, Mr. Costa, correct? From the, huh?
Wait.
Incorrect?
Hey, Larry.
Okay,
Why don't you
I'll
just
go through
go
the
and
chair,
then
okay.
we'll-
But I would just like
Yes,
that figure,
Okay.
okay, what it was and what it cost us. As far as Market Street is concerned, I believe that we need to revisit it. There's two dangerous things. Fifth Street, when you're coming towards Lodi, you go one lane, you're 2 lanes, and you're gonna fight for one lane by the bagel shop. If a car after 7 o'clock is making a right-hand turn on red, he makes the right-hand turn. The 2 cars come off that road and have to squeeze down into one. So you have 3 cars fighting for 1 lane. It forces the outside car into that middle lane, and he wants to go straight. The other thing is, I believe there should be an arrow by Caldwell, because that light serves an arrow, because that light serves no purpose. You can't make a left into the senior. The cars are coming, both of you have green, and that's what backs it up. So I think that needs to be revisited, and if we're done, I think we should go back there and look at that. The same thing with the tax refunds here. I asked Mr. Lodica to publish the street addresses, not the lot and block numbers. Again, you're doing the lot and block numbers.
Which ones?
Read it. You got an agenda in front of you.
I have the amounts there.
There's some addresses and there's some lot and block numbers.
Some are tax liens, they're personal properties where people are getting monies back because.
Isn't that all public information?
It is, it's on
Okay.
resolutions, posted on the
Well,
bulletin.
can you just make it easy for us so we don't have to work? You know, we don't make as
They're not
much money
tax
as you do.
liens.
Well, whatever they are, can you please put the addresses down? Okay? That would make it a lot easier for everybody involved. Also, I heard through the grapevine here that there's a school or a vocational school looking to go in the old nursing home on LaGregne, and the parking is very, very, very deficient. Calls for 33 spaces, I believe they have 14. That doesn't count if buses unload. You're in a residential area, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why would you even entertain something like that? That's later down the road. Just the fact that there's no parking, it's a residential area. You have a restaurant there that ruins the street at nighttime, weekends, or whatever. Give the people some peace, don't put a school there, and, you know, heavy traffic and everything like that. like I say, we gotta start stop missing the boat and start doing this and start doing the right things for the resident. That's why we elect you as council people, to speak for us, because we're only allowed 10 minutes here, and you can go to all the meetings that we can't go to, and you should be our mouthpiece, and you know, to fight for us instead of just giving up, and fight the developers and work them, so we do get something. It's not right that they just come in here, we grow the apple tree, and they come in and pick the apples. That's what they're doing to us. That's what they're doing, and we're getting nothing in return. We have the worst fields around, we have the worst of everything. Okay, and I mean, it shouldn't be that way. Like I say, we don't have the money to hire the police officers. We're not, where are we going with that? We have 3 in the academy and waiting for 3 laterals. In the meantime, we're still where we are. We didn't do anything. We didn't improve anything.
All right,
And,
thank you.
like I said, I don't think we're getting our money's worth from the people up here. And like I say, in November, things should change, hopefully.
Thank you.
And then, again, thank you.
You got that article, Larry? Larry,
What?
can I see the article?
You want the article? Sure. We'll keep holding it.
Anyone else like to be heard? Seeing none, I need a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close.
Motion by Mr. Halco,
Second.
by Mr. Camilleri. Roll call, please.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halco?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Connor.
Yes.
Council President, may I just make one comment before we
Yes,
go to
ma'am.
the agenda? I would just like to inform the public, I have in front of me, a 29-page ruling dating back to, I'd say 2007. It was an application before the zoning board. And this application was to change the zoning on Fifth Street to allow for housing. It's taken the judges of the courts in Hackensack till October 8th, 2013 to have a ruling. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I repeatedly say at meetings, anytime the public gets up and challenges the council or myself to push on the developers for, we didn't get a football field, but we gave away Mayhill Street. We didn't get this, but we gave that. This mayor and this council are guided by the laws of our state. We're guided by our professionals, and we are guided by our own personal integrity that we owe you when we decided to run for office. Well, let me say this. The zoning board of one of our residents who spoke this evening was a member at the time when this was passed. And do you know how it was passed? $400,000 contribution was expected from the developer. Someone went and appealed it, and guess what? 29 pages. This judge ruled that is wrong. Totally wrong. So from here on in, after reading all of this, how dare we? How dare we as developers? To me, I don't know what you'd call it, putting the squeeze on somebody, looking for money in your pocket. What is it? What is it? But here, somebody sat on that board and the judge is ruling. And I wanted to let the public know because every time I hear this, I get more upset because every one of us up here live with the same moral thought. We do a good job and that's it.
It's called contract zoning, and it's illegal, 100% illegal. But despite what the
Please, Larry. Please.
despite what the residents said, it is
Larry.
illegal.
Larry,
Let's let the facts be out.
Larry, please, one more time, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to make sure the public was clarified on the fact of illegal. Thank you.
Ordinances?
Ordinance 1557-13, a bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of water mains at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2 million to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Wait, these are for water mains located on Fifth, Roswell, and Cambridge, correct? Okay. I need a motion, correct?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Apple, second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
A bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of water mains at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2 million to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Need a motion, right? Oh, I need a motion. Motion by Ms. Mazer,
Second.
second by Mr. Halco. Roll call. All in favor? Aye. Okay, this is now open to the public. Anyone who wants to be heard on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Seeing none, I need a motion to close. Motion by Mr. Camilleri, second by Ms. Mazer. All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, a bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of water mains at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2 million to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. It is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
And I need a motion, correct? I need a motion. Oh, motion, Ms. Mazer,
Second.
by Mr. Halco. All in favor? Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council
Yes.
President Conti. Ordinance 1558-13, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook adopting the amended Caldwell Avenue redevelopment plan. Second reading.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Halco. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Simaluka. Roll call, please.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
An ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook adopting the amended Caldwell Avenue redevelopment plan.
And I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Simaluka. Second by Mr. Halco. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes. And this is open to the public. For second reading?
This one here,
Yes.
Wardwell,
Yes.
okay. That's another phone again. Larry Ratajczak, 92 Claremont Ave. That's another phony deal here, this project here. This is an inside job, no doubt about it. Also, the money that was used to purchase that, did that, through the Council President, did that money come from the other developers' COA money? Mr. Puccio, Mr. Gattuso,
That
and I
was-
don't know who the other one was.
It was part of the COA money that they had to, I believe, put in.
But it was theirs. Now, are we gonna get credit for that?
It is ours, correct? We do get credit for it. I
Now,
believe-
is that money, like I say, is that money available if he wants to do what he wants to do, being that his money is no longer there?
No, because he had to meet the COA obligations, correct?
Well, we're counting on, how many units did he promise us over there by the
Who?
junkyard? Puccio,
Puccio, what was it, 80?
80 units, but how many are low income?
I don't.
12?
I don't know.
12. Okay, so is he going forward with his? I mean, you're
I-
using his money to jump ahead of him. That's
These
what
were
you're doing.
monies- I could probably answer that because I was
Go
here when
ahead.
this came up. Each developer contributed to the COA fund.
Right,
They were required to build X number of units.
right.
They built half, let's say on Mayhill Street, and the other half was put into the fund for future.
Yeah, but Mayhill Street is not the developer that I'm talking about.
I'm just talking about developments.
The developer I'm talking about had the largest contribution,
All the developers
600,000.
contributed.
And that's the money that we used to purchase Caldwell.
The money
And I
from-
came up here that time and said, do we have the money to pay it back if they have to? And you said, yeah, we do. And we don't. We don't have the money. We don't have the money to pay the tax appeals. How do we have the money to pay the developers back? We use someone else's money to make this deal work. And who is this deal? Who is this developer? The one that gave $20,000 to Fifth Street Park when he built Mayhill Street. Probably the largest project in town. And he gave it to us. There's nobody in jail. Garfield's not in jail. None of the other towns are in jail. There's no extortion. There's no squeezing. I mean, if they can print it in the paper on the headlines of the Record, I'm sure they did nothing wrong. Why are we always worried about doing things wrong? We do things wrong from the beginning. Up here, we do things wrong. And you did that wrong, too. This is wrong, what you're doing here. You're using somebody else's money to do something and buy an associate out. Think about what you're doing.
Anyone else like to be heard on this? Seeing none, I need a
Motion to
motion to
close.
close. Motion by Mr. Maluka, second by Mr. Halpern, or Mr. Camilleri, I'm sorry.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri. Yes. Council President Conti.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook adopting the amended Caldwell Avenue redevelopment plan does now pass on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
And I need a motion. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Samaluka,
Second.
by Mr. Halpern. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
Ordinance first reading, 1559-13. A refunding bond ordinance providing for funding of a $2,360,000 emergency appropriation for tax appeals in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to appropriate the additional sum of $15,000 to pay the cost thereof, and to authorize the issuance of $2,375,000 of bonds and notes to finance the funding of said emergency appropriation and additional appropriation be passed and adopted on first reading.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
By Mr. Halko, need a second? Second. By Mr. Camilleri, roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri? Yes. Council President Conti.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a refunding bond ordinance providing for the funding of $2,360,000 emergency appropriation for tax appeals in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to appropriate the additional sum of $15,000 to pay the cost thereof, and to authorize the issuance of $2,375,000 of bonds and notes to finance the funding of said emergency appropriation and additional appropriation heretofore passed on first reading be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7:00 p.m. or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when where said ordinance will be further considered for final adoption.
And I need a
Can
motion.
I
Yes.
just comment
Yes.
before we I just want to read a resolution that was passed February 14th, 2013, regarding the Park 80, which is part of this $2,360,000. All right, the 2007 complaint will be withdrawn, and the assessment of $61,750,000 will remain intact. The 2008 complaint will be withdrawn, and the assessment of $125,895,400 will remain intact. The 2010 assessment of $125,895,400 will be reduced to $97 million, resulting in a refund of $584,265. The 2001 assessment of $125,895,400 will be reduced to $95 million, resulting in a refund of $661,779. The 2012 assessment of $125,895,400 will be reduced to $91,400,000, resulting in a refund of $753,724. This appeal has been going on since 2007. Mr. Mulestock was able to get the applicant to withdraw his 2007 complaint, his 2008 complaint. So that much money would have been added if Mr. Mulestock wasn't doing his job correctly.
What did he tell you about?
That is
Larry,
correct.
please, Larry.
Let me say this,
Come on.
Councilman. The exposure in this case, as I discussed with the council at that point, was realistically double to 2.5 to 3 times what we paid out on this refund. The case was 8 years, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The exposure to Saddlebrook, realistically, not by just some appraiser making up phony numbers, was at least double. At least $4 million. We settled the case for $2 million. We still have an assessment of almost $200 per foot for an office building where rents are down to $21, $22, and sometimes $23 a foot, which, if you know anything about the tax court procedures, value would be determined at maybe $160 or $170 a foot. We still have an assessment of close to $200 a foot. Was this building substantially overassessed as the result of the 2004 sale of the property? Yes. Not at the time. It wasn't, because the assessment was determined on the basis of the sale price, which took place in 2004. As the market changed in office building properties across North Jersey, values went down because rents went down. You all know, everyone sitting here knows that rents have gone down. So the trend in this case was, for the first couple of years, the value was okay based on the sale. But in years 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, as rents fell 20%, value of this property fell 20% or more. This settlement is, despite the fact that we are repaying a lot of money to this commercial property owner, this settlement is in, by far, the best interests of this township, without a doubt. And that's why the council voted for it, because everything considered, this was the right thing to do to move on and to end 8 years of litigation where the exposure was more than 2 times what we're paying. So that's why it was done, and that's why the council voted a year ago to do this. This is merely the funding at this point. This was all discussed a year ago at great length, and the right decision, in my opinion, and in the council's decision, was made at that time.
And we had the best interest of Saddlebrook at hand, not.
Well, if we
throwing
tried,
people's
in my
money away.
opinion, Councilman, if we tried the case, they would have beaten us for double double the amount. Plus, we would have spent another $100,000 in appraisal fees and litigation fees. For what? This was the right move. Now, you can sit there, people in the public can sit there and sharpshoot and not know what they're talking about. That's easy. Anyone can do that. That's real easy to do. You don't know the facts. You don't know anything about the case. Oh, why'd you do this, counsel? Well, the council did it because it was the right thing to do for the people of this municipality in the end. Thank you.
Through the chair,
Yes.
just have a question. Steve, I forget, is this the one where even if they accepted that the settlement amount came out to less than what our own appraiser would have had it, based on his report?
Our own appraisal would have resulted in approximately, not exactly, but very close to a $2 million refund to the building, okay? That's on our own appraisal. On the taxpayer's appraisal, we could have lost $6 million. I won't tell you we would have lost six, because I don't think that. But if we had tried the case, I do believe we would have lost double the $2 million that we're paying here.
And one other
Yes.
question, just since this is what you do, this is,
This is all I do.
That's all you do.
I represent 9 municipalities in Bergen County
and,
in tax appeals.
okay, so my question to you is this. Is Saddlebrook different from other towns in that we just don't have $2 million or $1 million available to pay a tax appeal on a substantial piece of property?
No. There are very few municipalities in Bergen County who, I'll preface this, it depends when a municipality did their last reassessment or their last revaluation and set their values. Most municipalities in Bergen County have, since the recession of 2008, undergone reassessments or revaluations to lower their values by 10, 15%, maybe more in certain instances. If a municipality is living with pre-2008 values, there's no way that it can hold on to those values in court. The reality is, as you all know from your homes, everyone knows that real estate has taken a big hit in this region. That's especially true in warehouse properties, of which Saddlebrook has a very high percentage, and hotels, which went down precipitously after 2008. Room rates went down, occupancy rates went down. This is how the tax court determines value. It looks at the income that's being generated for these buildings. That's how they determine value. There's no way we could have held on to our values prior to 2008. Every municipality, Councilman, every municipality that has pre-2008 values has lost substantial amounts of money and have to go down to the state of New Jersey for tax refund bonding, because it's impossible for a municipality of Saddlebrook's size to come up with the types of refunds from its regular budget or surplus, but they all have to do it. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to justify for everyone here, what happened. It happened because the market in New Jersey fell apart starting in 2008, has stabilized a little over the last year, but has never gone back to the values that existed in 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's reality.
Thank you. Okay.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a refunding bond ordinance providing for the funding of $2,360,000 emergency appropriation for tax appeals in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to appropriate the additional sum of $15,000 to pay the cost thereof, and to authorize the issuance of $2,375,000 of bonds or notes to finance the funding of said emergency appropriation and additional appropriation heretofore passed on first reading be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Halka. Second. By Mr. Camilleri. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conley?
Yes.
Ordinance 1560-13, a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new information technology and telecommunications equipment in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $550,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds to be passed and adopted on first reading.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Halka. Second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Constance?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new information technology and telecommunications equipment in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $550,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November, 2013, at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Camilleri, second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Constance?
Yes.
Ordinance first reading, ordinance number 1561-13, an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the Police Department of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, for the year 2013.
I need a motion. Excuse me.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Halka. Second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Constance?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the Police Department of the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey for the year 2013, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m., or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Mazer, second by Mr. Halka. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Constance?
Yes.
Ordinance 1562-13, an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the Police Department of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey for the year 2013. This is for the Chiefs and Public Safety Director, be passed and adopted on first reading.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Simaluka. Yes. Second. Second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Yes.
Be Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the Police Department of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, for the year 2013, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I need a motion. Motion by Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Camilleri. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
Ordinance 1563-13, an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, fixed compensation of employees, servants, and professional staff for first reading.
Need a motion by Ms. Mazur. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Halko. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur. Councilman Halko.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Abstain.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, fixing the fixed compensation of employees, servants, or professional staff, white collar, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I need a motion. Motion by Ms. Mazur,
Second.
second by Mr. Camilleri. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Abstain.
Ordinance number 8, first reading, is ordinance number 1564-13, an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, fixed compensation of employees, servants, or professional staff, blue collar, be passed and adopted on first reading.
Need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Halko. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, the fixed compensation of employees, servants, and professional staff, blue collar, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Need a motion. Motion by Ms. Mazur,
Second.
by Mr. Halko. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
Ordinance 1565-13, first reading, is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 120, entitled Licenses of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook by amending therefore Section 120-5, license fees.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Samaluka,
Second.
by Mr. Camilleri. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 120 entitled Licenses of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook by amending therefore Section 120-5 license fees, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 14th day of November 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Camilleri, by Ms. Mazur. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file minutes, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications. And added would be, if the council has no objection, the agreement for Cloverdale Apartments, Felix Sergio, and the Township of Southbrook. Resolution number 19.
Mr. Chair, I just have a question. Was there going to be a resolution authorizing this, unless it's here and I just don't see it, the startup for BCUA?
No, Mr. Costa is going to put a voucher in.
Okay, a voucher, okay. No problem.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Halka,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Samaluka. Any roll call or?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Yes.
Not part of the consent agenda, we have the minutes of the September 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Need a motion? Second by Ms. Mazer.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Yes. Abstain. I'm sorry.
We have approved payment of bills, Costa Engineering.
I'll make a motion.
Need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Camilleri.
Got to pick the jacket.
Yeah.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes. I'm sorry, abstain.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Yes.
Explain to the-
Payment of bills, Corner Nursery.
I'll make a motion.
Motion. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Camilleri. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Yes.
Approved payment of bills.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Camilleri.
Second.
Second by Mr. Samaluka.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Halko?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Council President Conti?
Abstain. Reports, so we go into some old business. Actually, we won't have discussions, anything on Market Street, because there were some things brought up. Let's do it Fifth and Market. Mr. Ratajczak had brought up 3 lanes right there, but making a right on Fifth, isn't there a sign that said 7 AM?
As you're going towards, into the wall, there's 2 lanes, left, straight, and right. So I'm not sure exactly what he's saying, that it narrows down.
Supposedly, well, the
No,
two,
No, see, I know exactly what he's saying is that if you're going north on Fifth Street, approaching Market, you stop, you shouldn't make a right if there's oncoming traffic, but what happens there, if you're going east on Market Street, going
yeah,
toward Town Hall, it's 2 lanes going into one around that area, and if you have a car making a right turn, now you've got a car going in there while 2 cars are kind of fighting each other to get into it. I believe that's what he's talking about.
But is there a sign up there, no turn on red, or
7 to 7.
7 to 7, so peak hours?
Again, that's in front of the bagel store, where we took the
Yeah.
parking out. Again, all of this is driven by the county.
And I'm there every day. It's in front of my store.
I don't, I mean, certainly.
There doesn't seem to be a problem that I've seen. The right turn.
And you may have that third car. going head-on into
Yeah,
traffic.
the other lane.
Can we ask the police if they're, to monitor the activity and see if there's been any accidents in that area?
We certainly can, but I'm there every day on that corner. If there's an accident, I hear
Yeah,
it.
but if you
And-
can ask
but
the
we
chief to give
will.
us a report?
Sure. And also the Caldwell. But is that blinking light working? The light, not the blinking light, Rob. The turn light to Caldwell. That is very important for the senior center, particularly in that neighborhood
And we brought this up months ago.
and the county.
But they will allow them up there with an hour. They wanted the traffic patterns.
But are we going to have left-hand turn light allowing?
With an hour,
The light will be coming because it's not working now. And I also have another request, if you're going back to the county, please. We have now installed, and we have to get that on the agenda to adjust an ordinance added on, the no right turn Mayhill Street heading south for the protection of the crossing guards. And we have it timed like at 7-Eleven between the morning hours, 7 to 4:30. I have a problem there, Rob, for visibility. Okay, there's a tree, and then there's a telephone pole. Tree, stop sign, telephone pole, then the sign for the no right turn is there, and it has to be about 20 feet to 25 feet distance from the crosswalk where it generally should be. The traffic every morning is improved. They're finally spotting this sign and stopping, or the crossing guards are pointing to it. But also, my suggestion, if we can get the county's permission, is to put it on the stoplight pole like we have in other areas. No right turn on red, please. Thank you.
Which intersection?
It's at Mayhill and Market. And it's heading south, Mayhill to Market. Well, they're important for safety, particularly for the crossing
I
guards
got
and
one
the
question
children.
for Rob, or Pete, I'm not sure where I should direct this. I'll start with Rob. It was brought up by Mr. Ratajczyk again that the police overtime, right, because of Market Street. When we go out for a bid, isn't the overtime for the police department going into that bid?
Again, this particular job was an interlocal agreement
Okay.
between the township and the county of Bergen. The county of Bergen, in their agreements and their contracts, and whether it's the township here, whether it's other towns that I've worked in, they will not reimburse for police. If you have a state grant, if you have a municipal grant from the state, they will not reimburse for police. The onus is on the community, so you have to pick up that.
So we picked up the tab for
And
the,
I'll get the number for the next meeting. I'm
okay.
thinking 7,000 or 8,000, but I will.
Again,
I'll
that
get
particular
Please.
job, a lot of it was done using on-duty police
Saved quite a
to
bit.
save quite a bit of money on that project.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I can,
Okay.
yes, we can testify to that with Captain
To go
McNally.
after the overtime that you go after the police, I think might be a little misguided on this particular project. And maybe that individual doesn't have all the facts or isn't versed in contracts and
Was a very tight budget and very well addressed by the police department when it came to scheduling regular hours to
Where possible,
avoid
yes.
the overtime where possible. And while we're talking about Market Street, I'd like to thank the attorney, the council. Years ago, the traffic light that's now at Caldwell Avenue and Market Street was to have been paid for by the developer of the mall there, and it never happened. So when I came into office and with the council, we pursued it, and we have now acquired $50,000 back that we would have never had if we didn't go after, even though somehow they managed to get away with when the planning board approved it all those years ago. But that's a plus to Market Street anyway.
A question to the engineer. Rob, when you find out from the county when they're gonna install that left arrow, can you just let us know, give us an ETA, and we'll see when they expect to have that up?
I will push.
He wanted it at least 6 months to 8 months or close to a year before they would do it, but I'll make sure tomorrow.
Yeah, that's important for that area.
What about by the post office also? If there's a left turn there into the post office that doesn't have a light in it, they're gonna put both of them?
We only discussed Caldwell, not
Yep.
the senior.
The post office was never part of the need for it.
But if it's an issue, I'll certainly bring that up.
I was just asking. I mean, if
It was more, Anthony,
Yeah, I
for
understand.
Caldwell
More
for
traffic that goes down
residential,
Caldwell than the post office,
residential
yes.
protection, safety.
Okay. Let me see what else. Mr. Medico, you have something?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman, yes. Two issues that came up I'd like to address. One is the public hearing that United Water had. I just would like to read, was correspondence number 1. Well, first of all, oh, sure. Through the chair?
Yes, sir.
It's a nice place.
I just want to briefly read parts of a letter that we received from the Board of Public Utilities. It was dated June 11th. It was correspondence for the June meeting. And it talks about the resolution that was forwarded to the Township of Saddlebrook against the rate increase filed by United Water. Township's concerns will be part of the official case file for the docketed matter and will be reviewed again prior to a final decision being made. It goes on to say what their criteria is for a rate increase to ensure that ratepayers receive safe, adequate, reliable service at the most reasonable rates, and that the utility be given the opportunity to earn a fair rate of return on its investment. These two concerns are in fact mandated by the state. Then goes on to say, prior to any rate decision being made by the board, at least one public hearing will be held in United Service Territory. And this public hearing will be presided over by the administrative law judge. The public is encouraged to attend the public hearing and voice any concerns they may have. Like the township's resolution, these comments will become part of the record in this proceeding and will also be reviewed before a decision is made. The date, time, and location of the public hearing will be published in newspapers such as the New Jersey Herald, the Star Ledger, and the Record, at least 20 days before the date of the hearing. There was no notification given to me to pass to the mayor and council. And I just want that clarified because right from the Board of Public Utilities is that it was to be posted in the paper. And again, our resolution addressed the concerns. In checking back, no one's been to these meetings in 2008 when the rates went up, even prior to that. And United Water Services, most of Bergen County, Hudson County, and it was a handful of people. And it's great they went, they reinforced our resolution. I just wanted to make that point.
And if I may add to that, based on Flo initiating that, as you said, the resolution was as though our presence was there. But also added to that, we did have the two executives from Hackensack Water, United Water, in here, and we objected to them face-to-face, one-on-one, to get an explanation. So this is something that we have not avoided or looked upon lightly. We have done due diligence.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that not only did we pass a resolution objecting to it and telling them our concerns, but again, we had them in personally and face-to-face told them our concerns and our objections.
Not in
And
favor.
Again, I don't know how many people were there. I wasn't there. I know a perennial council candidate was there and got his name in the paper. But be that as it may, what I'm going to do is I will call, because we were told today that every other town had everybody there, which would make me believe that whoever's serviced by United Water, all these towns up and down, the rivers here, in Bergen County, had a number of people. I mean, a majority of their council members must have went. Being that there's 72 towns in Bergen County, I believe it's 72, you would think that there's going to be 200 council people there. I will call, I think it's Mr. Scheinfeld, let me see, I'm blind. Mr. Scheingold, staff writer for the record, and ask him, and I can get, if we have the reporter for the record here, and maybe she can give me some contact information from Mr. Scheingold, and I would like to know how many participants were there, how many people were there, and how many council members, mayor and council members throughout Bergen County appeared at that one hearing. And then if I am wrong in my assumption that there weren't a heck of a lot of people there, I will on the record apologize. But there's a lot of information that's spewed out from that side of the room that people for some reason take as the truth and gospel, and a lot of times it's not. And if it's, listen, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit that I'm wrong. And I'm not, I'm wrong, quite often sometimes. Talk to my wife, and I will be the first to admit that I am wrong. But I am going to call Mr. Scheingold and get in touch with him and find out how many people there are. Now, the odd thing is this particular article says the proposal has drawn little opposition from business or consumer groups. But we know that Saddlebrook and other towns have, by resolution, on file with the Board of Public Utilities, indicated their objection to this water rate increase. So I will report back next month.
Okay, I just have one more thing. Mr. Ratajek had brought up about COA money, that 1.5 million. I believe that Mr. Puccio put that in because he didn't want to build at that particular time or something. I mean, I think you can answer more on that than I can. But my thing is that 1.5 million was going to be taken by the governor. I believe it's in court. Now imagine if we didn't use it for low-income senior housing. Imagine if we didn't use that, and we just let the governor take the 1.5. So we're getting beat up because we want to put senior housing in, which I'm all for. But imagine if we didn't do it, we sat back and let the governor take it, then what would the residents say then? So it's like, darn if you do, darn if you don't, I think we did the right thing of doing it for the senior housing. I believe we're getting credits for that. And I know, Mr. Ledico, I think you can add more to that with the 600,000.
When we had the Mount Laurel lawsuit and we settled, we had a number of developers, two who filed a lawsuit in conjunction with that, so it's a total of 3. Back then, the rules were that they can build half the numbers that were required, or give it an amount of money equal to the number of units that were not being built to the township to either build, or, as was planned by Saddlebrook and never happened, a regional contribution agreement with another town. At that time, we were talking about the city of Patterson. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. The laws have changed, and we can't do a regional contribution agreement anymore. But the monies were put in. One developer did not build any housing. He built a senior development without COA units. Another developer built half of the requirements, contributed to this fund, COA fund. And the third developer is also required to build so many units and chose to build half, or will build half if the project takes place, and give the money to the township for future affordable housing units. Those monies were given by the developers in lieu of them building the units that they were required to build.
And the monies are bulked in. So what's reflected is a bottom line bulk number. I believe we had like 1.5. When the $850 was spent for the Caldwell Avenue future senior housing, nobody went down a checklist and named names of who contributed what. The township cut the check for the amount of money without any reference to whose money it was.
Correct.
And we have not had one developer come in here to argue or ask for a return. Any approved developments that have been approved are on the books, And those developers, to my understanding, are looking to proceed with them. So we're fine.
I just have a question to the attorney.
Yeah.
The money that a developer puts forth for COA, that's part of the condition of approval. right?
Correct.
So that goes with the land. If he gets approval to build whatever at a location, that money had to be paid up front. So if he doesn't build it, we don't refund the money. That's part of the condition of the approval of the application.
That's my understanding.
So he is not entitled to a refund if he doesn't build.
And again, the other units were built, but they chose to contribute to the township as opposed to building the units. And that was their
They
option
gave
at the time.
points instead of money.
The bottom line is, it's not his, we've heard, I'm sorry for standing here, it's not his money. We keep saying, it's his money, it's not his money.
Absolutely
It's the town's money.
correct.
He put that in the fund for the town. It's not that we're holding it in a bank for him, and he could just come in and say, I want my money.
And reference
That's not
shouldn't
true.
be made to any
Again, misinformation.
individual. It's a bulk number
Council
in the town.
And Council President, my recollection is you're correct, that at one point, the state, in connection with its breakdown of COA, threatened to take monies that weren't being used. So the money had to be used, and what better opportunity to use it than what you did?
Correct, right.
So, I think if the member from the public cared about the truth, he would would stay around, but I don't think he's interested in that anyhow.
The truth isn't exciting.
It's not exciting, and it's not politic. And
Yep.
it's easy to stand there and, groan and moan when you
I
don't
had
know,
an aunt like
when
that.
you
She
don't
used
know
to stir
facts.
this- She always stirred the spaghetti pot, whether you had to stir it or not.
Rich, I just want to add one more thing with the decision that was handed down for the Fish Street property. I mean, it clearly says in here that variances are not up for sale. Okay? I mean, it clearly says it in the decision.
Here. In large developments, such as maybe what he was talking about, where a shopping mall, a huge shopping mall is built, the developer can be asked legally to contribute to the infrastructure of the municipality for the services that are gonna be necessary and occasioned by the development.
So a football field is not a necessity for a development.
No.
And
No,
off-site,
But where you build a street or such as this, and there's no, there really, despite the fact that the gentleman said you have to snowplow it,
we snowplow it anyway.
there's no administrative or other governmental obligations that are going to come out of that, which you could then ask the developer legally to offset. That's appropriate. But when you don't have those circumstances, such as this, it is illegal to say to a developer, oh, please buy us a new fire truck, and we'll give you, and we'll, wink, wink, we'll give you your variances. That's illegal. That's deal making. He's totally wrong on the law, totally wrong. Using bad examples of other municipalities, it's not comparable.
Wait, you're gonna let the mayor.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Good.
It's just, I have read this article, which is back from May, that was provided. And apparently the developer is Mr. Demetrakis, and he also is the person that built the East Rutherford, where I prosecute, municipal, not the municipal building, but the police department and the municipal court over there. But also remember that Mr. Demetrakis developed the entire Becton Dickinson property, which is a massive, massive piece of property. And what he did was he built basically the police station for free. He said, I'll build a police station, and by the way, I'm gonna develop this huge piece of property. He voluntarily did that. There's nothing you're gonna find on the record of any conversation between any member of that mayor or council that said, you can't develop over there unless you build us a police station. But I'm sure that Mr. Demetrakis and other developers are very happy when they get a chance to develop some property. And coincidentally, in this particular case, the Garfield case, he is building the police station, and he pledged $4 million toward that project. And oh, by the way, he's developing the entire Garden State paper site on River Drive, which is, again, a massive piece of property. So he's making a major development, and he's building them a police station as part of it. The $400,000 for Vernado, if you ever go up Passaic Street in Garfield, it's where the old Two Guys for Old People, including me, because I work there. It's the former Two Guys site, and there was another piece of property next to it, and now it's the Walmart and various other places, the Applebee's. So it's a huge project, and they gave $400,000 toward, again, infrastructure.
Right.
It wasn't.
The key is you have, in these large developments, if it's residential, you have school children, you have costs to the municipality, you have sewers, additional flow, you have additional police protection if you have a large shopping center they have to patrol. That's why in those situations of large type developments such as that, the municipality undertakes additional cost and infrastructure development. That, in those scenarios, it's appropriate. Here, it's not even in the ballpark.
Just so the public is aware, the piece of property that we've talked about, or someone has talked about for months, maybe a year, is 50 feet by 400 and change. So basically, it's how much is it? 20,000 square feet? Okay, so.
Pavement.
Of pavement. The average home in Saddlebrook is built on a 50 by 100 lot, let's say, 5,000 square feet. So it's like you take 4 houses next to each other. That's this massive piece of property that we're so concerned about plowing and salting and sanding. Remember, this was a regular road. They put in almost $200,000 of improvements. So did we get something out of it? We got a brand-new road out of it from what was nothing, plus a maintenance bond. So should we be upset about getting a brand-new road? I don't think so. I think people driving on that road are gonna appreciate that it's brand new. And we didn't have to pay $200,000 to fix it.
And that maintenance bond's for 2 years? So they're obligated for 2 years to maintain that road. And we did all the soil testing, everything came back fine. Okay, Mayor, would you like, you said you wanted to bring something up?
Yes, just to bring the public up to date on the police department. Last meeting, I had announced that we are able to hire 3 additional officers, laterals. The chief and director of public safety, deputy chief have been working on applications. When it comes to laterals, you have to be careful because if it's civil service, if the town won't give them up, we can't have them if they're qualified. So what they've been working on is vetting out the applications, and then by next week, they will have their selections made, and Pete and I will continue the interview process. In addition to that, I'd like to point out to the public that our ordinance number 4 this evening, which was 1560-13, in the amount of $550,000, is for the purchase of the police department's computers are entirely antiquated and coming near to deficiency. And Pete and I have been working on this, and our town hall needs new computers. So after discussing what Pete and I did some legwork on with the council had agreed to go out and look and see how much it would cost. So council, Pete, myself, we thought $200,000 was going to do it for the police department and the town, as well as our phone system is beyond that. I have to say this, our building department is, they're using their own personal phones. Our secretary is there with her cell phone, and we were hoping that some of these monies will also go into a badly needed phone system. Now, getting back to the police, when we sat down with the computer vendor, we sat down with our Captain Laurentino, Pete, myself, Anthony Halco was there, and after much discussion, Anthony is the pro on the computer tech end and the hardware end. So we wanted to be assured that we were heading in the right direction along with what the police need. And I brought this back to the council. It was determined that we're looking to put most of the monies into the police department to get it up to grade A plus standard. So that could take possibly, with the 200 we had thought about, possibly 125 to 150. But that will be a major accomplishment that's part of this bond ordinance. Now, also included in this bond ordinance is, in addition to the phone, computers, we've had some problems on Sylvan Street. We had a resident in, there's a repaving, and then there was money set aside to continue the work for gaining a future light at Midland and Flora Lane. Then in addition to that, this week Pete and I went out on a new senior bus. Ours is in need, and Flo and Anthony are on the committees to get, hopefully, a community development grant. So that, they're going in with an application from $55,000 to $59,000. The bus is desperately needed. I said to the council the other night I wasn't too pleased with the suspension system, but at least we can put the application in for the grant without delay, which is progress again, and then maybe look to other types of vehicles. So, you know, the council has been working progressively and diligently, and I'm proud to say we're making good progress along the way. And additionally, so just to notify the public, October 12th across the street this weekend, Ed's Tavern has the St. Jude. It's a wonderful, wonderful cause. They raise quite a bit of money, so please think about stopping by. The food is delicious. It's all home cooked. Also, on the 19th of October, there's the Prayer Walk, which is an annual walk that begins at St. Philip's 10:30 that morning, and then we go into Rochelle Park. October 27th is the trunk or treat at the Saddlebrook High School, 1 o'clock. Anyone wishing to bring their vehicles, the children love to see the vehicles decorated, come in costume, and bring loads of goodies. Just loads, because when you think you have enough, you don't, because it's very well attended. And then also we have 2 community activities going on. We have the, of course, the Halloween home decorating contest. We'll be judging that October 28th, and the Mayor's Youth Committee has decided to bring back something Saddlebrook used to do over 20 years ago. Any child or high school, middle school student that wishes, if they're artistically inclined, they can approach a business, ask if they could use their window and paint. They're responsible for getting the paints. They're responsible for cleaning up. But the Mayor's Youth Group is going to be handling that. We do have notices that were sent out to the schools by virtue of flyers, and then a group went out, emails, I think, to the middle and high school because they couldn't get the flyers out there. So those avenues of communication, as well as on the website, and now announcing it on TV. And in November, we will have the winners come forward. So that's just an update for the month of October, and then November 2nd, we received Tuesday night, there's a benefit for Mr. Buchak. So I believe those tickets are $45, and it's at the VFW at 7 p.m. Then also this month, we have the soccer will be having their annual fundraiser dinner dance at the VFW. And those tickets are available. You can always call Pete or the head of the soccer. And football is also having theirs. And if Joe would like to elaborate the cost and all in that, because you're Mr. Football. The date, I have the date. It's October, soccer is October 19th, and then the 25th.
25th,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock at the VFW. For tickets, I believe Rich McKay and his wife Donna is handling that. So if anyone does want to come, please come support the recreation football. We're off to a real good season this year. And it's just nice to raise money for the kids. The kids get it all back in the end. If you can come support it, please come. Thank you.
Soccer Saturday night and football is Friday night.
Right, 19th Saturday night, 7 to 12, costumes if so desire, and football is Friday the 25th at 7. Oh, and then we also have the senior costume dinner at the VFW. That is the 29th at 6 p.m. And that's provided by local businesses, provide the food for the seniors. So they always have a great time line dancing, and if you want to learn, come on down. And we also have a contest for the best costume for the seniors. So happy Halloween, everyone.
I vote for Mr. Costa as an early Halloween costume winner.
There you go.
All right, we did old business.
You're in the
new
lead.
business. Okay, council comments. Any council comments? Joe, you have any council?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Saddlebrook Women's Club for coming here tonight, and what they do and give out is very nice and generous. I'd like to say thank you to them. I wanted to touch on our recreation football. We are home, the last 3 games home at Veterans. If no one's doing nothing,
If we don't
please
get
come
rained
on
out.
down and support. I'd also like to just give a little shout out to my senior team, boys. You've worked real hard, and I'm very, very proud of you guys. Let's keep it up. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Summerlin?
Thanks to the Women's Club, obviously, and the 3 recipients, Lou and the Challenger Division, also our ambulance corps and fire department, who obviously do a great job as volunteers. I just wanted to talk a little bit, very little. Very little. It's Columbus Day coming up, and Saddlebrook Unico, which is our Italian-American organization in town, of which I am a member, is a wonderful organization, and they also give out loads of money to needy people and organizations, and I wanted to thank them. They will be having a Columbus Day celebration float. Do you know when it is?
Saturday at 9 a.m., isn't it? Over by Welcome Road.
Okay, and I want to, since he's in the audience, Emil Ciliento from Corner Nursery for donating his time and products to make that gazebo and the area around it look great. So thank you to all the members of Unico for all you do, and thanks, Emil.
Ms. Mazur?
This may be on our old business. On our work session, we discussed about the railroad, about the debris on the railroad cars, and we mentioned how we were going, I believe we were going to send a letter to them.
No, Flo, what I did, if I
Yes.
may, Tony and I spoke.
Right.
I had 2 business meetings at the store yesterday and today because I had wanted to go out there. I think the portion of the railroad that Rob spoke of the other day was from the pump station to Saddle River Road. What Tony is checking on currently as of this afternoon, and then we are going out physically next week. We have that planned. We're going to see whether it's railroad property, town property, because they may have some easements there or they may have rightful ownership. However, he has a good rapport with, that one happens to be, I think, Susquehanna. So he is planning to make phone calls to find out more information, and then we'll be doing a physical walkthrough so that we make sure that everything is properly maintained.
Okay, because my point is that if we can invite them in, not only to address that, but also how they cut our town apart.
I've had
you
them
know,
in, but I'm
with the
glad to,
railroad.
they've been in twice in the past
Okay.
2 years. But I'll certainly be glad to extend the invitation so that the council, maybe hearing it from Pete, myself,
Right.
is not enough. So I think Joe's suggestion, your suggestion to go forward with that. And Pete, we have the contact numbers. If not, I could always check with Wanda. So we'll try to get them in for the November meeting, if you like.
Great.
Is everyone
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay with that?
Great.
Yeah.
November?
And,
Okay.
and also, all the dates and all the, you know, the ceremonies and the even.
They're
fun
all on the
stuff.
website.
I was gonna say it's on the website?
All of it,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Joe Obiso's doing a great job there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, okay, thank you.
I also would like to thank the Women's Club for all they do for the township. It's greatly appreciated. And I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe Halloween.
Okay, I just also want to thank the Women's Club for all they do, and also the Ambulance Corps, Fire Department, and Mr. Verley do a great job. And also, I want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. I need a motion now to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Simaluka, second by Ms.